Hello and welcome to TB3U Season 2, Episode 2, where we are talking the USF Bulls, the Florida Gators, and the Florida State Seminoles, but mostly, and first and foremost, the USF Bulls, because those Bulls are 2-0, man, and they went into Gainesville and got an 18-16 win. Fellas, how are we feeling?
Man, I can't. It doesn't even feel real. You sit back and you watch what happened. You're like, wow, did that happen? Can someone pitch me? Am I dreaming? The Bulls, what a win, a statement win. I'll ask you guys in a little bit kind of where this lines up, but I think, this is probably one of the most important wins in the entire history of your South Florida Bulls. And I think, this is America's team. This is America's team. It's so special to see all the big names, all the biggest names in college football and around the country talking about South Florida. And they are going to be, on the national spotlight on the CW this Saturday with everybody watching them. And this is what we wanted. We wanted South Florida on the map. When we started this thing, 2 years ago now, we wanted to get USF attention. We wanted to follow this team, promote this team. We wanted Tampa Bay, everybody in Tampa Bay to follow the Bulls, support the Bulls. And after seeing that win, man, it's just truly special. Truly, truly special. I am so happy that we're sitting here talking about a huge win for your South Florida Bulls.
It was hard to believe. Like, I kind of was like, okay, what could go wrong? Like, okay, they have the lead right now, but what? Okay, there's only 2 minutes up, but what could go wrong? And like, nothing went wrong. Like, they won the game. Like, we're sitting here talking about the Bulls beating a ranked undefeated team, let alone it was one win. But I mean, come on, they beat an undefeated team. Like, amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Joel, I kind of echo your sentiment. Like, from the USF perspective, it was really like, man, something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Florida gets that punt return, they get that touchdown early. It's like, oh boy, here we go. It's just like going to be like the Alabama games. It's going to be like the Florida game from 2022. But the Bulls really just did not waver. I mean, me and Will were there, man. Tom Petty played in the fourth quarter. The greatest tradition in all of college sports. The Tom Petty played. The Gator crowd got rocking. It was louder than it ever had been. The Florida got the touchdown, got the momentum. But the Bulls did not waver. They were calm. They were focused. And their defense, man, you cannot say enough about this defense. Able to force 2 punts in situations where they needed to get the ball back, and they were able to force 2 punts. They forced Florida to punt on all but one of their drives in the second half, and that one drive was due to a short field. Their defense was phenomenal. Their offense made huge plays, and Nico Gramatica, what a huge kick, what a job. Just really, really impressed with the Bulls and their mentality and their spirit. Alex Golesh, talks about their identity, and he wants their identity to be physically tough and mentally tough. And man, they showed that, and I was just really impressed with the way they finished that game.
Yeah, I think you look at just we talked about Florida is a talented team in the SEC. They got a lot of guys on there who could be playing in the NFL, and you just look at how much the Bulls were able to dominate. I think defense especially. You got guys just flying around. Mac Harris, Jalen Shuler, Deshaun Rucker. I mean,
Deshaun Rucker was amazing.
James
Amazing.
Chenault.
Yeah.
The list goes on, and you look at with the high-powered offense of the Florida Gators. And you look at the only touchdown they gave up was, aided by a repunt because of a penalty, and then another unsportsman, or I guess I guess it would be unsportsmanlike.
It was, yeah.
By Rico Watson there to give the Gators a really short field. So I think you can't say enough how much this defense dominated, and when it really mattered, when it came down to it, to give the Bulls a second chance. Grammatico with the 58-yarder. That's tough to make. I know he's got the leg for it, and he just came up like, I think they said it was 5 feet short in the post game. But then to go right back out there on defense and shut the Gators down and give your offense one more chance, you can't say enough about them.
Yeah, I mean the defense was, phenomenal. Florida, they came into the game. and we knew what the game plan was going to be. We had a pretty good idea. It was going to be all about the run and then the play action pass. And it really did not look good for USF. Jaden Baugh on the opening possession ran for, over 50 yards. And, it looked like this could be, something where Florida was going to, out physical USF. But, USF kept holding in the red zone. Florida had 3 drives in the first half. Only 3 drives. They scored on all 3 of their drives, but they were all field goals. And the red zone defense was phenomenal. They bent, but they did not break. That was the message from Alex Golesh, from Mac Harris, from that defense. They bent, they did not break. They did not want to, be the member of that defense to blink. They did not want to be the person that, wasn't bought in, that wasn't mentally tough during that game. And they showed that. They just kept playing. And in the first half, Florida moved the ball. They out-physicaled Florida a little, or they out-physicaled USF a little bit. But USF just kept playing. 50 yards on the first drive for Jaden Baugh. He ended up with only 93 on the game. And some of that you could, go and be like, Billy Napier, what are you doing? But some of that is USF played the run extremely well in the second half. And then you look at the play action passes. I think Alex Golesh said there was 5 explosive plays on the game, which is, definitely a solid amount. But when you look at the explosive rate percentage for Florida on the game, it was only 3%. It was a very low. USF out explosive played Florida in this game, and it was huge. And that was such a huge thing because that's exactly what USF wanted to do. They wanted to make Florida drive up and down the field and make them punish them, and just patiently and make DJ Lagway make the intermediate throw, make the throw underneath, and make them keep working all the way down the field. And USF's defense, they came up big, big interception from James Chenault, big plays in the red zone, just huge hits. Deshaun Rucker had a big third down stop. Just really, really impressed with these guys on defense.
Yeah, I think too, just add one more thing. I think a big one was open field tackling. A lot of one-on-one situations, and USF was able to come up with some huge solo tackles. I think that was absolutely phenomenal. And just, again, I think it all give credit to Todd Orlando, man. Great game plan defensively and have those guys locked in. And I think too, what they did so well is they took away the deep ball. I think that was pretty clear. That's what they were doing. They wanted to limit Lagway's big playmaking ability with his arm, and they did that successfully. And I think also they definitely confused him. It was one play specifically when Mac Harris got his sack. Florida calls something out, like they kind of Lagway motions to the nickel coming in like he's gonna blitz, and he ends up staying back out in coverage, and Mac Harris comes in scot-free and gets a sack on Lagway. And it just that play stuck out to me the most because I think they had Florida confused a lot of times. They didn't really know what USF was throwing at them. And yeah, I think it was just a huge credit for Todd Orlando's game plan.
Yeah, I agree. I think Todd Orlando's done a really good job. The blitzing, the disguising coverage, the ability to throw things at these players that they'll understand, but that's still exotic. That's the word I was looking for. That's still exotic, and to give a lot of credit to these players too. Like Florida's offense, we'll get to it in a little bit, but Florida's offense does have a lot of eye candy, does have a lot of motion, some play action, some boots. There's a lot of misdirection, and USF did a really good job for the most part on that misdirection. And I got to give a lot of credit to this defensive line once again. I mean, Florida has, a really solid offensive line. They were good at the end of last year. They had 4 of their 5 starters come back this season. And, this offensive line is really good, and USF's defensive line, for the most part, especially in the second half, held their own against one of the better offensive lines in the SEC. That speaks volumes of the interior guys, Josh Leskar, Devin Lee, Jacob Merrifield. These guys have been really good through 2 weeks, and having that type of talent and depth in the defensive line is just, this is not your typical group of 5 team. The USF is not your typical group of 5 team. Their talent is better. Their athleticism better, their coaching's better, their playmakers are better. This is not a normal Group of 5 team. This is not, some crazy upset for the Florida Gators. This is USF. I'm sick of that. I really am sick of that. USF played the game and they beat Florida. And I understand Florida had some boneheaded plays. I understand Florida made some mistakes, but I'm tired of people taking away, USF's credit for winning that game. USF did so many things. Their coaching and their game plan was phenomenal. Their execution and the plays they made, like you said, the tackling was phenomenal. The plays that they needed to make on offense with Byron Brown, with Keyshawn Singleton, with Alvon Isaac, these guys made huge plays. In the game, they made those plays. This was not a product of Florida folding. This is a product of it not being the same old South Florida Bulls and USF, building up this program to get to this talent level where you are not a typical Group of 5 team.
Mm-hmm.
Offensively, I think give credit, man. Byron Brown, definitely some ups and downs, especially in the first half. But you look at the stat line; this is very, very impressive, especially on the road in the Swamp. 23 of 36, 263 yards passing, 1 touchdown pass, and then 17 carries for 66 yards on the ground. No turnovers for the Bulls at all. Mm-hmm. Byron Brown has been very, very impressive through 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, speaking of turnovers, he leads all of NCAA with the most consecutive passing attempts without an interception. Wow. So shout out to the Bulls. Yeah, I think he's truly a difference maker. And you look at last season and just how much they truly missed him, man. And I think it's very easy to say he's definitely in the Heisman talk.
Oh, for sure,
definitely in the Heisman talk. I think his passing ability. His accuracy has looked so much better. And then he's just dangerous on his legs where you think he is dead to rights and he just scrambles out of it. I think, just that play when their last drive of the second half, when they kicked their second field goal, he is dead to rights in the backfield. And he also has the likes of, Sapp, what's his first name?
Tyreek Sapp
chasing after him. I mean, that guy's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And just like that, out of it, scrambles, gets down too with 2 seconds left. Doesn't pull a Will Howard, and they get an extra field goal off to make it.
He was going to score that.
I did too. He just got.
That was smart that he didn't.
But yeah, just to get just plays like that. I mean, he is so fun to watch. I think, again, shout out to the offense game plan. I think, the biggest takeaway for me was just that tempo. And you said it. I'll give you credit. You said, I think this will come into play a lot because I think a lot of times, a lot of people have trouble, and me especially, with the tempo sometimes because I think they're off the field too quickly if their offense struggles. But you said it last week that would be a factor in the game, and it certainly was.
Because there was a penalty on there, right?
There was a bunch, yeah.
And even the touchdown pass was almost too many men on the field, but Florida's defense was not set. They were scrambling.
I think that's funny too because they asked Golsh about it in the post game presser, and that play was just to catch Florida with too many men.
Yeah.
And Brown throws it up. Keyshawn Singleton makes an insane grab.
Yeah.
But I think it was so funny just the way Golsh answered. He's like, we're trying to get it with too many men on the field.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the game plan has been phenomenal. The play calling, give a lot of credit to Alex Golesh, the offensive coordinator, Joel Gordon. Definitely, I think last year and the year before, I think you saw, especially with Bryce Archie, the limitations of the offense. It seemed like there was, at some points, and maybe this was what the quarterback or the personnel, gave to you, but it seems like USF was calling 6 plays the whole entire game, and it was a repeat, and it was just all in the tempo and trying to get the first down and stuff like that. But Alex Golesh has done a phenomenal job in 2 games, throwing in wrinkles, screen passes. Will caught it at the game. There was like a setup screen where they had already thrown a screen to the outside, and then they faked it and they threw into the tight end over the middle. Yeah. Some really, really good wrinkles in the games, and Alex Golesh has really had a good variety of play calls. I thought I was really impressed with Byron Brown making the simple plays. I thought he was on time with a lot of those stick routes, with those short routes. I thought he did a really good job of making the simple plays, and that's really what impressed me about Byron Brown. And more than that, what impressed me about Byron Brown was his presence on the field. This is a tough road environment. It was a sold-out swamp, almost 90,000 people there. I mean, it was loud, it was hot. It was, and again, this is USF. USF plays some tough teams. They played Alabama last year, but they're not in an SEC stadium, 5 or 6 times a year. Like, this is not something they face all the time. Every single day.
Bama doesn't come close to a swamp.
No, I agree with that. But so it was a loud environment. Byron Brown was in control and command the whole entire time. There was only a couple, pre-snap penalties. There was never a moment where I felt like, he was rattled. And I think that presence really, just wore off and was on, the whole rest of the team. And I think that leadership from Byron Brown was really, really impressive, and the presence on offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think, too, the screen game was a lot better.
Yeah.
I really loved their screen game this week. And I think, again, it goes back to the tempo. I just think they're catching the Gators in kind of some soft zone because they're looking back for their defensive adjustments, and they're able to capitalize on it. I really appreciate the screen game. But, yeah, Byron Brown just wasn't phased. And I think just that's the thing, too, which sticks out to me, listening. And when after the games, these guys talking, I mean, they're all bought in. It's not just Byron Brown. They're all bought in. They all have the same answers. They all have the same mentality. And that speaks to me a lot as just how bought in and locked in these guys are for Coach Golish.
I completely agree. Got to give a lot of credit to the weapons on this team. Some guys that stick out, obviously Keyshawn Singleton, back-to-back weeks with huge long touchdown receptions. You got the fake punt against Boise. You got the the jump ball heard around the world against Florida. I mean, he is just such a difference maker for USF. And then I mentioned before, Alvon Isaac, the running back. He's I think at some point he'd be listed third in the depth chart, but he's really played his way, and I think he's been the most impressive USF running back so far. 5 carries in this game, 36 yards, 7.2 yards per carry, and then also 4 receptions for 49 yards. He was really, really good. Also some unsung heroes in the receiving group. Medea Rubin,
You said too. I think you said you were looking for him to stand out last week.
I've had my eye on him. They got him the ball a few times at Boise. A lot of good things coming around from him during camp. Words, they're so hard. But yeah, 5 catches, 44 yards. And then Christian Neptune, the true freshman, 5 catches, 39 yards. I think this was his first start of his career.
It was, yeah.
And he was very, very impressive. A good button that Golish pressed in this game. So the weapons really did help out. I was pretty impressed with what they pulled off in the swamp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Isaac is your RB1, and I think, shout out to him too with that 29-yard reception to really put him in field goal range on the last drive of the game. He was dead to rights too. I mean, that was kind of a blown-up play. I don't know who it was for the Gators, but blew up kind of that lead blocker there on the screen, and Brown had to throw it kind of backwards, and just to get out of that and scramble down the sideline. I mean, that was a huge, big-time play, so shout out to him for that.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think
like Norton too, man.
Norton's good. He ran hard. Mm-hmm. He's more of that power back, and the offensive line is going to have to just, give him a little bit more crease to run. But I thought he ran pretty well in this game as well. So talking about USF, really impressive win. But I think we should mention the Florida aspect of this. We talk a lot of Florida Gators. Some of you guys know I've been a Florida Gators fan my whole life. I got two girlfriends right now, and one of them is very unhappy, and that's the Florida Gators. I don't actually have 2 girlfriends, just to be clear, guys. But anyways, Florida, loses this game. Billy Napier's now 20-20 as head coach of the Florida Gators. He has 7 losses in the swamp. He's under fire. I was in that press conference after the game for Billy Napier, and I could only describe the media as sharks in the water.
I was hoping you would say that.
They were. I've told this to a bunch of people this week. They were ready to rip him. One of the questions asked was, "Hey Billy, do you think you're the right man for this job?" Right to his face, and it's just like people seem done, and I can't really blame them. Billy Napier has really, really just. It seems like for him, it's gone, 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards for him, and it's just been really frustrating. I think you look at this game. there's a lot to gripe with Billy. And I don't think it's just him, but Billy Napier. I think some things you could gripe with. I think he was soft in the play calling a lot. There's a lot of fourth and manageables, especially in the first half. We mentioned USF holding Florida to field goals. There were some times where USF Florida could have, gone for those fourth downs, 4th and 3, 4th and 2, and try to really get that touchdown to kind of put their foots on USF's necks. And Billy Napier always elected to take the field goal, and that kept USF in the game in the first half. I think that we mentioned Jaden Baugh, 50 yards rushing on the first drive, and he only ends up with 93. Only ends up with, I think, 18 carries on the game. That's unacceptable. USF did a lot better job in the second half against the rushing attack, but man, Jaden Baugh was the best player on the field on Saturday. There was not a better player on the field than Jaden Baugh talent-wise, and Florida stopped giving him the ball. So I think you could gripe for that. Billy, I think the game management in the fourth quarter, you have a drive where you basically just need 1 or 2 first downs to put USF to rest. And you come out throwing an out route on the sideline, then a slot fade. Definitely throws that could have been made by DJ Lagway, and we'll get to him in a second. But tough plays, especially when your running attack has been pretty solid throughout the game. So I think Billy Napier had a lot of mistakes in this game.
Well, I think he's got to go. And I don't like the Gators at all. It's pretty obvious if you've been a long time listener to the show. I don't like the Gators. I don't like them, but I look at them and I think. And I've said this. I said it last year that he could do some damage to this team if you keep him around. And I know teams don't want to get rid of coaches. There's a lot of turnover. It takes a lot to find somebody. But you look at the SEC and how tough the conference is, and find me a coach who's struggled 4 years or longer and has finally turned it around in the SEC. You have to succeed right away in that league, or it's going to be tough for you. We've seen it all the time, and I think they just given him too much of a leash, and I think those 2 wins at the end of last season hurt them a lot because I think it gave this team false hope in him. They could do something. I think it was really the play by your quarterback that saved his job. And I look at Lagway this Saturday, and I think he played terrible. I think he played absolutely terrible. And I don't think Lagway is bad. Certainly he was, the number 1 quarterback in the nation for a reason. But then again, that falls back on your coach. Why is this guy not developing? Why is he not getting better? You can say, maybe he's banged up. He's had a shoulder injury through camp. But there's a lot difference between, maybe not having the arm strength or inaccuracy. He's missing guys wide open, not even looking at them. Why is he holding on to the ball too long? Just stuff like that. I think Billy's got to go, and they got to find somebody who can get him to succeed fast. And I think the more you keep him around, you're just going to make it worse. And they could go out this weekend and beat LSU, but I still think at the end of the day, you're going to have games like this with Napier where they get out coached, makes bonehead decisions. I think too, at the end of the game, not calling timeouts is it was going to come down to a field goal anyway. Dude, what are you doing? You gave your team no chance to get the ball back. And like you said too, I think that was glaring as well. Not going for it, settling for field goals. With the talent you have on this team, USF is no regular G5 team. They are uber talented. But you're the Gators at home. You don't have any faith in your offense to maybe go for it on 4th down? Come on. I could go on and on, but it's just I think they're done. I just think it is too detrimental to the Gators to keep this guy around any longer, and Saturday proved it again.
Let me ask this. Is it John Gruden time?
I don't know if that would work good for Florida.
I think he'd be open to it.
But dang well, it would be.
Because I know he's kind of interested in college.
Yeah, no, I think his next job will be a college football. I really do. Again, I don't know if John Gruden can have success in the modern day college football landscape. But shoot, I don't know if he won't. I don't know. It'd be fun.
I'd rather have I'd rather have I'd rather have a fun life than a long life or whatever.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, that's my mentality on that. Just bring it on. I
think the Gators should go after Oregon's offense coordinator Will Stein.
I don't know if this is possible, but I did see some Marcus Freeman swirlings. If you could get Marcus Freeman, that is a slam dunk
huge.
360 windmill hire.
I would say even Dan Lanning too. I know he turned down Alabama, but again,
I don't know if I don't think he's walking away from that Nike money.
Maybe
I think
not,
it's too much. But yeah, I think Will, you mentioned the fourth downs. You should be going for the kill against USF, a team that you have more talent with. You should be going for the kill and going for touchdowns against teams you are even talented with. Field goals don't win you the games. They never have. They never will. To kick 3 field goals and not consider going for fourth down, especially on that second drive where you already have kicked the field goal in the red zone, you have to make bold choices. And I think Billy Napier, to go to your point about DJ Lagway, I think some of that struggle comes from just DJ Lagway not playing good. Some of that struggle comes from him being rusty, missing a lot of time with injury. But again, I don't think he looks like he's developed. He doesn't look like he's better. The offense doesn't look like it's taken a step with the quarterback to be more, more diverse and more thing. And I think really, truly, Billy Napier dug his own grave by again continually to not hire an offensive coordinator. I thought that was kind of the expectation. I kind of thought that was the boosters were going to force him to hire an offensive coordinator this offseason. And I think those, like you said, those 2 wins kind of hurt Florida in that way where he kind of had some more leeway and people started to believe in Billy Napier as a play caller. And I don't know. I think he does a lot of good, but I just think you need someone in that position. And it doesn't have to be someone who has a completely different offense than you, but it has to be someone in that position. I just don't think he's cut out to be an SEC play caller. And I do think it's interesting. I'm not done with the Gators yet, but I guess we'll move forward for USF. They take on Miami, their 3rd ranked opponent in a row. The Bulls are now ranked. They are number 18th in the land. Miami is number 5. They're going on the road again to Hard Rock Stadium. Going to be much less of a tough environment, but a really, really good team. Miami, they now have Carson Beck as opposed to Cam Ward. They got a lot of really good players. They've been spending money. They've been recruiting hard. Mario Cristobal has those guys talented and loaded up again. You look at wide receiver Malachi Toney, true freshmen, look really good. Defensive line stacked there. Offensive line stacked there. Like, this is a very, very good team. Just as talented as Florida, maybe even a little bit more talented. Kind of depends on the position or the person you ask. But yeah, really good team. Already has a win over Notre Dame this season. What are you guys looking for in this Notre Dame USF game? I'm sorry, Miami USF game.
Yeah, I think this has been a good build-up. I certainly think the more I watch film and the more I rewatch the Notre Dame game, and I think this is the most talented team they're going to face out of the 3 ranked opponents, and definitely all season. This is a tough Miami team, and I think the biggest thing, for me is that defense, and I get concerned a little bit about USF's defense. As well as they played, defensive line and as a whole only got 3 pressures on DJ Lagway that whole game. They did come up with a sack. They definitely, I think their DBs played exceptionally well, and they've done that all season. But I'm concerned about the matchup between the defensive line and Miami's offensive line. And I think one of the most glaring things is against Notre Dame, which is a phenomenal defense of a playoff team from last year. Miami was able to average 4 yards a carry against them. And you look at how much success the Gators had running the ball in USF at times, and I think they probably should have stuck with it more. And who knows, it might have been a different ball game with how well Jaden Baugh was running. That's my biggest concern is this defense. You got to be able to shut down the run. You have to get pressure on Carson Beck, because I think that's the biggest thing that Notre Dame struggled with is they weren't getting pressure on him at all. And as soon as they did, he starts to make some mistakes and make some bad throws, and Notre Dame almost comes back and wins that game. But for most of that game, they weren't getting any pressure on Carson Beck. And that's going to be really important for Tyler Orlando and this South Florida Bulls defense to work on is how can you stop the run and how can you get pressure on Carson Beck? Because I think that is going to decide how this game plays out.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to manufacture some pressure, some blitzes. I think this is a much different stylistic team to the first two. I think Boise and Florida offensively, their styles were very similar. Run, play, action, pass. And I think Miami, their runs will be they're going to mix it up a lot more. It's going to be a lot more even spread pass and run. They're going to look more to the intermediate to the 15 to 20 yard passes as opposed to the 20 to 30 yard passes. Got a lot of weapons. CJ Daniels, Malachi Tony, those are really good receivers. And Carson Beck, he's shown he can get the ball out. He can get the ball. He can spread it around. Carson Beck, he's a very experienced quarterback. He's 24-3 as a starter in college football. So he's a very experienced quarterback. I think that USF's defensive line and their scheme, I think they'll be able to hold up. This is another game where I'm more concerned about the line matchup on the other side. USF's offensive line, I think they were better moving the ball and better in run blocking, but I still don't think they were great. And I think Miami is going to be able. They have a few more pass rushers than Florida did, and I think I'm pretty sure Florida is sackless on the season as of right now, which is pretty crazy. Or they were.
Brown got sacked.
But I think they were sackless for the first. I don't know. Anyways, I think Miami, their defensive ends. I can't remember his name,
Ruben
but
Bain.
Ruben Bain, the one who came all the way over and got that interception in the first game from the screen pass. That was crazy. I think those guys are really, really good. They will rush the passer. Can USF kind of get it better push, get more runs? Can they keep the wrinkle, the short passing game? Can they get a little bit more consistent moving? Because, again, they only scored 18 points. You want to see some more score because I don't think that will cut it in this game. I don't think you'll be able to hold this Miami offense under 20. But who knows? I didn't think that you'd be able to do it with Florida, so who knows? I do think one thing that I think is going that I am looking for USF to kind of take advantage is – when you look at the Notre Dame game, C.J. Carr had a lot of opportunities to scramble and make plays, whether it's with his legs or scramble and make some throws. And I think that's a big opportunity for Byron Brown as Notre Dame kind of rushes the passer a little harder and doesn't really keep contained. I think Byron Brown's going to have some opportunities to make some plays with his legs and make some plays on the run on some unscheduled throws. And I think this could be Byron Brown's biggest game. I really do. I think Miami's secondary is weaker than what they just played with Florida, and I think that offensively, USF offense is primed to have a better game if their offensive line can hold up, and they're going to probably need a better game offensively.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not as concerned with the offense because, like you said, I think they're going to make the plays happen. I think Byron Brown is too explosive, too dynamic. He's going to be hard for anybody to stop. And I just think they're going to find plays there. I really just go back to defense. I think you can't have long drives, 8 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute, 6, 7 minutes drives. You got to get stops on defense. You got to create a couple turnovers. They were able to get one against Florida. I'd like to see another. I think that would be kind of a huge turning point in the game, and I think that's kind of the thing we've seen from this Miami team is they struggle with closing out games. They struggle putting teams away, and I think USF has got to create some kind of turnover, keep that game close, and if you're able to, if it's a ball game in the fourth quarter, I think USF can win easily. But you can't be playing from behind. You can't go down 14-0 and try to climb your way back. You gotta start off with something big, whether that's explosive play on offense or a turnover on defense. You have to get it done because this Miami team will quit. They are a bunch of quitters. Yeah, and I know because as soon as we put Miami in any of the captions of this video, they will be flooding the YouTube.
Oh yeah, our
Miami,
friends,
Miami fans. Ugh.
You wanted all the smoke last year, and you thought you're so great.
And you did. And you know how many ACC championships Miami has?
Zero.
Zero ACC championships.
You couldn't even win the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Wow, that was embarrassing. I will say, 12 interceptions for Carson Beck last season, creating turnovers and creating turnovers through quarterback pressure. You saw it last year. It doesn't have to be a lot of quarterback pressure on Carson Beck, but you just have to make him a little bit uncomfortable, and
He'll
will
throw it right to the defense.
He will put the ball up at grabs. I think some of that deception, like you mentioned from Todd Orlando, could be huge in this game. And I think you mentioned it, sticking around. This team has shown they are mentally tough. They are ready to finish football games. You stick around with Miami. You don't let them get a knockout punch early. You're going to be in a good spot. I really do think that. Couple notes. 17.5-point favorites for Miami this week again.
Disrespectful.
Hey, but we like that number. We like that number. And then another number we like is 5 versus 18. The last time it was USF was a part of a 5 versus 18 matchup. It was in 2007 against West Virginia, where the 18th ranked South Florida Bulls upset the 5th ranked West Virginia Mountaineers. So some numbers we like, some numbers we've seen before in this game, but can they translate? I really don't know. I think are we ready to predict?
Yeah. I just think, hey, this team has done it before. They've gone to Miami and got the win in overtime.
2010.
Do it again. I mean, I think the win against Florida was phenomenal. Probably one of the best ones all time. I think you look at the game against West Virginia, going to South Bend and winning, and I think this one winning in the Swamp in Florida, and being the only team in Florida to win at all of the so quote unquote big three in the state, winning at their houses. I think that's absolutely huge. But you have this stretch of games. You find a way to win this game against Miami. I mean, that will change college football forever. Not just the program. It'll change college football.
And
they could have a couple losses after that. But if they were to beat Miami, I think they're a shoo-in for the
best. That would be the best resume for the entire season. Who's doing that?
If they beat Miami, they really should be ranked number 1. But I mean, I'll take a top 5 ranking.
Top 5 for sure. Nobody's got a better resume.
No, they don't. USF is still being, slandered by the AP poll. We got AP polls voters saying that they just are not even watching the games and they're just going it off the culture.
I'm just a girly.
There's culture.
And it's just like, man, AP poll.
A lot of people are voting.
Whole lot of idiots. And if you hired me, I'd do a better job.
I put my life on the line for the AP poll. That's what I'm saying. Like, subscribe, comment.
And we could be ranking the teams, and we actually watch the game, so we'll do a good job. But yeah, I think that USF should be ranked in the top 15 right now for sure. But yeah, if they win, they should be ranked top 5. I'll go first. I'll predict first. I didn't believe last week, and it just seems too good to be true. It seems too good to be true to get 3 in a row. I really think USF's going to hang around. I do. I think they're going to hang around, and I think they're going to lose this one 34-27. Joel?
I mean, come on. You gotta believe. Just believe. If they're going to lose one, they'll have a hiccup against, Rice or something.
Oh, I can't deal with that.
At the end of the year.
No, I was telling Will, if USF has a stupid American Conference loss, say they were to drop this, no, they better not lose an American game. If they especially if they lose FAU or North Texas or I'm gonna be livid.
FAU's doo-doo too. That would actually be embarrassing.
Yeah, that cannot happen.
No, not this week. We're gonna win 27-24.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I told you guys last week it was happening. I told you last week on the show. Nobody want to believe in this team. I said 17.5. Disrespectful. This South Florida team, man, there's something special brewing here in the Tampa Bay area. Maybe it's TB3. Maybe it isn't. I think it might be TB3. We start to cover this team. We put our hands on this team, and they start, magical stuff starts happening. And for all you Miami listeners out there, I hope you're scared. I hope you're scared. And I don't want to see any false confidence going into this game because your own coach in the press conference talking about how to stop Byron Brown, one of the most electric players in all of college football. Miami talking about their, how to stop the offense. This Miami team is scared. They're scared. They respect South Florida. I think that's the thing, that South Florida might not have going for them. This Miami team is expecting them. They're not going to get caught by surprise. They know what this team is capable of. And you better be scared. You better be scared because if this game is close in the fourth quarter, which I think it will be, USF will win the game. And I think they do. I think it's going to be a little high scoring, but I still think that defense is going to come up with plays. They're going to make Miami settle for field goals, and their offense is going to create just as many explosive plays as they need. Maybe the Keyshawn Singleton touchdown. Maybe Christian Neptune gets involved. Maybe Byron Brown scrambles for one and knocks down a couple Hurricanes along the way. But I think South Florida wins this game 24-21. College football will be changed forever. And yeah, they're going to be top 5 in the country next week. And we're going to have one heck of a show for TB University Season 2, Episode 3.
Dang right. Real quick. Florida State. I know it's
Florida State, man.
Florida State.
Shout out to Knowles. They whooped
East Texas A&M?
Dogwater Tech. You know what? I think
East Lake High School.
Yeah, they might have been a better game. No, I just think what stuck out to me most about this game for your Florida State Seminoles, for our avid Seminole fans who are listening, is I just think, getting hyped and getting ready to play. You come off after, I think, and that's something we'll talk about, for USF after this stretch of 3 games is can they get up and play against a South Carolina State team, And I think that was the same thing for Florida State. You have a huge game against Alabama in week 1. How's this team going to respond? And I think that was the thing. They responded well. They were in sync. The plays were hitting. They had no trouble anywhere. And you put up 80 points on a team. That Florida State team was still locked in. It doesn't matter who's lined up in front of them. They were locked in. The goal is to win, and they won convincingly. And it's just hard not to get excited. I think seeing Deuce Robinson get involved, he had, a 50-yard touchdown, a 70-yard touchdown. Good to see him. I think he's going to be a huge receiving threat for your Seminoles moving forward. Castellanos looked great. Gavin Sawchuk looked great. I'm really excited about Sawchuk, man. I think that's just another dynamic running back in this mix for Florida State. He might have one of the best running back cores in the entire nation. Jalen Lucas, added in Mekhi Danzig, kind of an athlete receiver, but I consider him a running back. There's a whole lot you can say, but great win, way to show up for it. Got bye week this week, and then they got Kent State rolling in, so I'm happy. I really am I'm just happy for this team. Prayers up for Ethan Pritchard, one of their true freshmen. He was shot and he's still in the ICU, so pray for him. But it was pretty special. His dad was invited to the game. Coach Norvell had him come out, and he got to break the rock. That's a tradition that they do. They break the rock after a win, and his dad got to do it. So that was pretty awesome, special to see. And something special's brewing in Tallahassee as well.
For sure. That's really cool. Really cool. Praying for Ethan Pritchard. That is horrible. I mean, as far for the game, I don't have much, Like Will mentioned, it's impressive to put 70 points on a team. Like, it is. There's no I don't really care who you're playing, but it's impressive to come out with that focus and explosiveness and that focus to get 77 points in the game. So that's good. Didn't really learn much, but FSU keeps rolling. There's no letdown. We'll see how it goes in the conference play, but they do, as of right now, seem to be the real deal as a college football playoff hopeful.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to start the season, too, because I was just looking at the schedule after Kent State. There's not really any cupcakes left, so it's like you kind of get your foot in the door, get you a little bit of preseason, then you don't have any relapses or whatever. Like,
Joel, you forgot. The ACC is Cupcake Conference Central. I mean,
hey,
let's put it this way. I know all the other teams. That are
All
playing.
cupcake conference.
Whatever.
Come on, man.
Regardless, I mean, there's like they don't really have any of those places where they can kind of like be looking to the next game or whatever. And they look over, like North Carolina South or whatever.
Well, you got people in the SEC crying about other teams playing cupcakes to start the year. I think
Georgia, we're looking at you, Georgia.
Yeah, I think playing a team like Alabama to start the year, it's first off, it's more entertaining to see big time matchups in week one, but I think it actually is a benefactor for a lot of these teams because you start off with a tough game, and I think it carries you through the rest of the season, especially if you can get a win. So I think for Florida State, that was great to get Alabama first. And now you got two easy opponents. You're going to play Virginia, your fourth game of the season. Miami's going to be a true test in October. But, yeah, I think it was good to play Alabama first because when you do get to those ACC games, I think they're going to be a lot more battle-tested and prepared than other teams like Georgia, who play nobodies for the first 3 weeks. Or even Ohio State. I know Texas was a big matchup, but Ohio State, historically, I feel like they're always playing a directional school for the first four games of the season.
I agree. I think it's good to play a good team early, and I think there's no excuse not to do it with the 12-team playoff. When it was 4 teams and you had to, go 12-0 or 11-1, at the very least to make it in the playoff. I can understand trying to, especially if you play in the SEC or the Big Ten, to try to kind of lighten your load early on in the season. But with the 12-team playoff, with the ability to boost your resume, I think those early season, those big non-conference matchups should be rewarded by the committee. Mm-hmm. I think they battle test you. I think FSU, like you said, will be ready for ACC play, probably better than some other teams. And I think it's just good. It's good for your program. You get to bring in recruits for a big-time game. You get to get the crowds rolling. Like, it's good for everyone. Big-time non-conference games are good for everyone. I think this week 1 was probably one of the more stacked ones. Week 2 was really good as well. So I'm all about big-time non-conference college football. Should we Florida real quick? Florida LSU. 7:30 ABC. Can the Gators bounce back, fellas?
Yeah, I certainly think they can because I just think, LSU, Brian Kelly-led team, they're overrated. You look at them, this is a tough thing, kind of deciding some of these teams. We look at, week 1 with LSU and Clemson, and it's a 17-10 ball game, and you think these might be some of the best defenses in the country, maybe the top 2 best teams going head-to-head, just a close game. But then you look at this week, LSU struggling against Louisiana Tech. Clemson struggling against Troy. How good really are these teams? We don't know. They were ranked high at the start of the year, but again, you look at Dabo Swinney-led teams, a lot of times they start slow. And anytime Brian Kelly is, anytime I see his name and they're playing somebody big or have a big game or, statement game, I expect them to lose. I really do. And again, we talked about too, I said it earlier, Florida 100% could win this game. I don't think it should change anybody's opinions about Napier, but I certainly think they have what it takes to win. Because, again, I don't know if this LSU team is the 3rd best team in the country.
I agree. This game screams Florida win out of nowhere. It really does. Maybe I'm delusional.
No, I agree with you. I think Florida, I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form if Florida wins.
And I think, some things are going your way. One of your best defensive player, Caleb Banks, is coming back this week. He didn't play last week. You played so bad. Everyone's against you. All the noise is against you. You can just really focus on us against the world. I think that's what Billy Napier will be preaching, all week long. I think DJ Lagway, again, Will mentioned, was not good against USF. Missed a lot of throws. I think he's due. Again, this is going to be a 3rd game. He's going to be more comfortable. I think he's due to play better. And I just think, again, Florida is still uber talented. And I think LSU, like you mentioned, this team was, not a top 25 team last year. Like this team, they're 3rd. Garrett Nussmeier has looked pretty solid, but there's a lot of holes. This defense is a lot of transfers, a lot of new players. We don't know how they're going to look in SEC play. We don't know what Clemson is. I mean, like you said, they're down big to Troy. And LSU barely. You don't know much early on in the season. It's so volatile right now. But yeah, I think for Florida, I think. Again, just what is the play calling choices going to be? Are they going to be able to stick the run? Are they going to be able to establish the run? Are they going to be able to cash in and score touchdowns? Is DJ Lagway going to improve? On defense, are they going to be able to make more explosive plays, force a turnover, get some more tackles for loss, get some more sacks? Are they going to be able to do that and get some more juice in this team? Because it really felt like USF had those guys in kind of a lull, all of that game except for the big, Vernell Brown, punt return. I think this team is so talented. I think this screams bounce back, and I'm going to put it on paper. I think Florida wins this game. 28-17. Florida wins this game.
I think Florida wins this game as well. I think they want to do a little bit of a rebound here for Billy Napier, whether they like the guy or not. They want to.
The players love Billy.
Yes, yeah. So they want to show the coach like, hey, like last week. Forget about last week. Let's put a good game together this week. I think they win 24-21.
Just to be safe, I'm going to say LSU wins. Can't have a clean sweep. It's too dangerous. I think LSU wins 29-23.
All right, we're going to rapid fire some picks. If my ESPN app could...
I got it if you want me to go.
Do it. My ESPN app is slow.
Uh-oh. As soon as... Wait. Okay, well, I got it. Here we go. No.
I'm trying
Mine's
to pull
frozen.
ESPN app, they updated it.
Wait, here we go.
Stinks.
Here we go. I think I got it for real this time. Yeah. All right. So let's see. So I think we'll go with this game. 12 p.m. on ESPN. Clemson at Georgia Tech. I think it could be a pretty good game. I think Georgia Tech's a lot better than people think. I'll say it first. I think Georgia Tech wins this game. I think they upset Clemson. I think they've played really well. Had a huge win on the road against CU. I think Haynes King is just a good quarterback, man. That their offense is hard to stop. Give me Georgia Tech.
I am a big Georgia Tech guy as well. I think they're probably in that middle tier of maybe 4th, 5th, 6th best team in the ACC. I like Haynes King, but this game really screams Dabo Swinney, revenge game, suffocating defense. We're going to remind us that we play good against the ACC, just not the SEC teams. I got Clemson, and I got Clemson pretty big. I think they win by 14 plus.
I would also go Georgia Tech Georgia Tech.
We won't predict this one. I just think it's funny Oklahoma travels to Philadelphia to play Temple at the Link.
That is funny.
It's kind of funny to me.
That they are not filling that stadium.
Oh, that's just so weird. Oklahoma shows up there. I think probably the biggest game outside of USF Miami at 3:30. Georgia at Tennessee. Is Tennessee legit?
No.
You don't think so?
No, we did the same thing with Nico at the beginning of the season last year. We did the same thing with Joe Milton. They beat up on their non-conference teams. They're not legit. Georgia's going to roll them.
Really?
Also, Tennessee's both their starting corners are out.
Oof. I'm kind of impressed by Aguilar. Give me Tennessee to upset.
You said the same thing about Nico, bro. I'm telling you.
It's
so downhill since they lost Golesh.
It's so tempting, though.
I really like Aguilar, man. He does look really good. He looks a lot better than Nico, too.
Sure. That's what we were all saying. Remember that NC State game? Everyone was all about Nico. Just saying. Joel?
I'll go Georgia. Yeah, I mean, I want to go Tennessee, but you talked me out of it.
Here we go. Huge rivalry game early in the year at 3:30 on ESPN. Pitt at West Virginia. Does West Virginia get the upset?
Well,
They're
West
pretty
Virginia
terrible.
just lost to Ohio, so I'm going to go with Pitt on this
It's a rivalry game.
Rich Rodriguez back in the thing.
As far as jerseys go, this is a fun jersey.
This
game.
is a good jersey matchup. I agree with that one.
I'll go Pitt.
Let's see here as I keep scrolling. Arkansas to Ole Miss. Arkansas 2-0.
This game might be 50-45. These are some good offenses and some not so good defenses. I think Ole Miss is at home. I don't know. It seems like a game Lane Kiffin would lose. I think it's going to be close, but I think Ole Miss pulled it out at the end.
Yeah, I'd say if this game was in Arkansas, I think I'd take Arkansas. But since that Ole Miss, give me Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of the times I just pick teams based on I never see Arkansas win, so why is that going to change? Like I don't think I've really ever turned on like an Arkansas game and said, "Hey, Arkansas just won that game."
They beat
kinda
Tennessee
fair.
last year.
Yeah,
man.
but maybe he didn't turn
I
on that
probably,
one.
I probably didn't watch that.
Yeah.
We just did,
You're the woo pig curse, man.
Huge night game on NBC. Texas A&M on the road in South Bend against Notre Dame.
I liked a lot from what I saw from Notre Dame at the end of the Miami game. I think if they had started a little faster, I think they would have beat Miami. And I think C.J. Carr looked pretty good. And I think that team's just going to get better and better. And I think that includes them getting a win over Texas A&M.
give me Texas A&M.
I think I'm going to lean Notre Dame, but I mean,
Good
as
game.
an independent, if they don't win this, that's 2 losses. This is kind of a must win for them, really.
It is.
You can't have any more hiccups. I like this one too. 7:45 SEC Network, Vanderbilt at South Carolina.
This might be the best game of the weekend. This is a really, really good game. Who's the home team in this one?
South Carolina.
Oh, that does make it tough. But man, Vanderbilt, if you guys don't know, went and boat raced Virginia Tech last. They were down 20-10 at halftime and won 44-20. That is insane. On the road against Virginia Tech. I don't care what type of team it is. On the road, doing that on the road is impressive. You know what? I'm going to go Vanderbilt. I don't love what I saw from South Carolina. Diego's been talking smack, but I think he's going to back it up. Give me the Commodores.
Yeah, Theo Vaughn and Speed showed up to Vanderbilt's practice today.
Vibes are high.
Vibes are very high. Yeah, give me Vanderbilt. Upset. They might be legit.
What if this is their year? What if they win again and they take down the goalpost again?
That would be awesome.
Maybe it's like
Just make it a tradition.
Maybe it's like man. Imagine like USF Vanderbilt in the college football.
It's
playoffs.
just one of those oddball years. Like, FSU goes 2-10. They're gonna be like the best team.
Yeah.
USF's in it. Vandy,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Utah.
Did,
gonna be
Will,
like a
Will, did
random-
you see that they're playing an 11 p.m. game at Michigan State later on in the season?
It's I thought it was Michigan at Michigan State USC.
I think, but it's USC at Michigan State.
What the?
I don't know. I could
That's
be wrong.
ridiculous.
That's
I'll
insane.
look into that. I think that's kind of the last big one. I mean, Duke and Tulane kind of got me going a little bit at 8 p.m.
Give me Duke. Give me Duke.
Tulane, I don't know.
Tulane almost lost to South Alabama last week.
I hate Duke. Give me Tulane.
Wow.
I hate Duke.
Talk about uniform matchups that could get you going.
I hate Duke uniforms. I hate every aspect.
Did you
of
see
Duke.
Duke's uniforms this Saturday against Illinois?
No.
They were
were
cool.
sick, yeah.
They were cool. They were cool. And Tulane, I swear, has the best uniforms in college football. I'll take that to the grave. Who are you taking, Tulane or Duke? Will?
Give me if Duke turns the ball over like they did against Illinois. I think Tulane runs away with it. Actually, I think they. I know Northwestern's terrible, but what a dominant win over a Big Ten opponent. You struggle with South Alabama, but you still get the win. Oh, man. It's in Tulane. Duke's got to go on the road. Man, Tulane, they're so good. I can see Tulane. I think Tulane wins.
Duke's making a statement. They are. They are.
To answer Colby's question, this jersey matchup's terrible. I hate it.
Wow. All right. Okay. He's not buying it. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm just not a Duke guy.
UMass at Iowa.
No. Ew. Ew. And on that note, thank you guys for watching TB3 University. Make sure you guys tune in to watch your South Florida Bulls. Maybe make the trip to Miami. That'll be a fun trip. Some historic stuff going for the Bulls. 4:30 CW Network this Saturday. Comment your predictions down below. Will USF pull it out, or is Miami just going to be too much? If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like. If you're on Spotify, hit the 5 stars, hit the follow. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on X. Enjoy some college football this weekend, and most importantly, have a beautiful and blessed night.